Hi, my name is Wally, and I am making this video on behalf of the Human Rights Defenders League in Canada. What I'm about to share with you, I believe, will change your life if you truly get it. Now, my history involves 13 years as an agent with Revenue Canada and its provincial counterpart, now commonly referred to as CRA, or Canada Revenue Agency. What I saw as an insider was absolutely disgusting and incredibly disturbing. I witnessed agents entering the office and proudly announcing that they had just put a senior citizen on dog food, meaning that that's all he could afford. And then he proudly announced that the senior citizen had, learned his lesson and will not mess with us again. Although I did my job at Revenue Canada in as humane a manner as possible, I know that I was the instrument that caused harm to many innocent people. For that, I apologize and sincerely and humbly ask your forgiveness. It did not take long, however, for me to realize that I was witnessing a system of slavery, and I was one of the enforcers of that system of enslavement and theft. Further, I realized that I had to stop what I was doing. I could no longer continue as an instrument of enslavement and theft from the innocent and hardworking people living on this land. Now I make a plea to all CRA agents, police officers, and other agents of government to start thinking about what you are doing and what you're part of. Think about what you are inflicting on others in the name of the psychopathic driven system of enslavement and theft that you're involved in. You may not realize it, but you are perpetrating that system of enslavement and theft upon yourselves as well. In fact, my warning to you is this: if you are called upon by these psychopaths to do something extremely evil, such as arresting those they label as terrorists, incarcerating them without trial or evidence of any wrongdoing, assaulting them, and even murdering them, then you may well be targeted for elimination next, because you now know too much, and by that very knowledge are a threat to the psychopaths that are operating this system, or this game, as I like to refer to it as sometimes. Wake up, people. There's a big problem here today. And the problem is that we are all slaves. But the good news is that this system of enslavement and theft simply cannot exist or be maintained without you and I blindly following orders to inflict that slavery and theft upon the rest of us. We are doing this to ourselves. After all, there's only us people here. By the way, you know what I'm saying is true because you do not share in any of that stolen wealth, do you? At least not for the most part. That is my message and appeal to the agents of government, without whom the psychopaths that run this world could not maintain their system of enslavement and theft. While with Revenue Canada, I recognize the reality of the evil that I was part of, and someday I hope you will as well. What I'm presenting in this short video, I am calling the solution to all our problems. The simplicity of this approach, or this solution, may make it more difficult for you, at least the skeptics, to believe. But that is okay. I do not blame you, because it is all due to your programming. which I endured as well. From cradle to grave, we are indoctrinated. You don't believe you're programmed? Well, I have news for you. How many of you actually believe we must have rules without which there will simply be chaos? Now, how many of you create those rules yourself? Or even have a part in creating them? I know the answer is none, at least for the most part. How then can you claim to be free and not living in slavery? I will not belabor that point because what I want to make is a short video into which I pack much but keep it simple. I am not going to explain how the monetary system works and how it is the tool that enslaves us all and steals our birthright and our inheritance, which is dominion over the earth and all there is therein. Now, our birthright is to have the status of a servant king of God, which was our status at birth, by the way. And dominion over the earth simply means God's power of attorney to deal with the earth as we see fit, as long as we do it in accordance with the law, the royal law. Through the use of money and what is euphemistically referred to as law, acts and statutes and regulations of government, the lawyers, masters of confusion, make the law, run the government, and run the courts, thus enabling our enslavement and theft of our labor on an ongoing basis using the present system of debt currency. I want you simply to accept it for now so you can understand the solution which I'm about to present to you. But then I urge you to do your own research and verify what I have told you. Some websites to visit that will assist you in your research are as follows. EternallyAware.com, where you'll learn about human rights. ServantKing.info, where you will learn about the royal law. HumanRightsDefenders.ca, that's where you will learn about human rights and much more. And WallyDove.wordpress.com. These sites will help you understand the monetary system, the royal law, and human rights, and how to use international law to bind government, its agencies, and agents, because the International Bill of Human Rights is law in Canada, binds the Canadian government, its agencies, and agents. We have a letter on our website from John Baird, a man who occupies the Office of Foreign Affairs for Canada, that states, at least by omission, that the two international covenants are indeed legally binding on Canada, having been acceded to on May the 19th, 1976. Now get yourself an education on how the monetary system works and how it is not the government that creates your money supply, it is private bankers. This fact proves that the government, who is charged with the duty and obligation to create your money, has abdicated its duty and responsibility, and the acts and statutes that permit such activity are simply unconstitutional, and therefore the government has violated the supreme law of the land, the Constitution. More importantly, they have violated the royal law and the International Bill of Human Rights by holding us in slavery at least. That's one. There's many more. That makes them a criminal organization and all their agents criminals. What I really want to do with this video is explain how to bring your enslavement and the crime of theft being committed against you to an end. In order to free yourself from this system, you must do two very simple things. Not easy, just simple. You must accept, first of all, that you live in slavery and you own absolutely nothing, everything having been stolen from you legally. And number two, you have to come to an understanding that you do not have to endure this slavery and theft. Now, accepting that you live in slavery is not easy because it means one has to admit to being deceived and swindled into voluntarily surrendering your inheritance and on an ongoing basis our labor to the government or Her Majesty the Queen or the Crown, whatever they call themselves, for the benefit of the psychopaths who run the world. Ask any competent, honest lawyer, a rare combination, if you own anything, and the answer will be an emphatic no. The consent you gave when your parents registered you with the government, or more accurately, your failure to tell government that you wish to not be their slave when you reach the age of consent or majority, thus enabling your enslavement and the theft of your inheritance and labor. Now ignore the crap that you've been told by government and others, such as the government does not register people, it registers events. You've been registered with the government and you are their property, believe me. Then you went and obtained a birth certificate and assumed the government identification or identity, that the entity or agency of government, the establishment and existence of which is proven by the birth certificate, thus becoming a son or servant of the state, giving the government total control over us as their property, resulting in our enslavement and the theft of the entire earth from us. Are the so-called laws, acts and statutes of government, ever approved by you? Now many may tell you that these laws were written and approved by you through your duly elected representatives. To that I say bull. It doesn't work that way. And you know it. The very fact that these laws are forced upon us without our consent is absolute proof of the slavery we all live in. What I'm asking you to do now, at least until you can verify for yourself all that I have said is true, simply have faith and accept what I am presenting. And admit that you live in slavery, and that money, or at least the type of money we have available, debt currency, is the root of the problem and the means by which we are enslaved. So how did all of this happen? Let me explain it by condensing about 6 or more millennia into a few paragraphs or statements. In the beginning, we humans were all standing around on the earth enjoying all the gifts our Creator had given us. We owned it all and could do with it as we desired as long as we dealt with it in accordance with the royal law, the Bible, or God's express will. Now let me just say this. This is not a religious program or video. It has nothing to do with religion because religion doesn't have a clue that the law book, the Bible, is just that, a law book and a constitution. A constitution describes the makeup of a thing. That's the definition of the word. And I paraphrase, I should say, of course. But the Bible is a constitution which describes the makeup of everything, including us. We are written into that constitution. Then one of us, probably a psychopath, after all, there are only us people here, suggested that we should turn our backs on God, create a God of our own making, to bow down to and to serve. After all, this psychopath suggested, if we do not do something to create some rules to govern our behavior, there will be chaos. This, of course, neglects the very fact that We already had all the rules necessary to guide our lives and to live and flourish in total freedom. The royal law, the Bible, the perfect law of liberty. The Bible, or the royal law, is not a religious book. It is a law book and a constitution, as I said earlier. A constitution describes or defines the makeup of things. The royal law describes the makeup of everything, including you and I. At any rate, we agreed to create our own God, a graven image, calling it Canada, or the United States, or Spain, or France, whatever. This God is not real. It is just imaginary. But we can bow down and serve it anyway, even though it only exists in our minds. The psychopath, of course, suggested he would tell us, I should say, what this God wanted us to do, what laws or rules to live by, and this God would also tell him how we should trade our goods and services, and he would write it all down for us. This he did after being joined by other psychopaths, and voila! We have our legal system, complete with its foundation of money and acts and statutes, which are referred to as law, and the rule of law. You see, one system is real, the one where we were standing around enjoying our inheritance, everything we needed or could desire, and the other is only imaginary, a game. Then the psychopaths realized that in addition to the piece of paper that constituted Canada, our God, we needed something else, some sort of visual symbol to help us see our God. You see, there are two ways to see. One is with the eyes, and the other is with the mind. Then we were convinced that if we took a rag and painted it red and white, painted a symbol on it representing a maple leaf, and then hung it on a pole, we could sing songs of worship, commonly referred to as anthems, to our rag. Salute it, place our hands over our hearts as we paid reverence and homage to it. Hell, we even send our young men and women unto other lands where the people have their own God or country, with the intent of murdering those people or being murdered in order to keep our land or our God safe. Are we insane? A rhetorical question for you. Now that's how it happened, folks, and since the system that enslaves us exists only in our minds, can we not simply change or renew our minds and stop all this nonsense? I'm betting you won't have any problem now accepting that you live in slavery, or at least I hope not. Now the second of the two things that we have to do is to understand that none of it is necessary, and you simply do not have to endure the slavery and theft. All you have to do, all that is necessary to free yourself is to say no. Say, I no longer accept slavery as a way of life for me and my family. You do not have to spend 17 plus years, as I did, studying their so-called laws and trying to use them to become free. I mean, those laws have enslaved us. There's no way we can use them to be free, in my view anyway. You simply have to accept that you are a slave. Now when you say no, this effectively withdraws the consent you gave in the past. If you accept this and then ensure that everyone you know watches this video, it will go viral. When everybody has seen it, you can literally say, I am no longer going to accept money in exchange for my labor, and I do not require money to give in exchange for that which is already mine. You see, even though you own nothing, because everything was stolen from you, It was done legally, not lawfully. Legal is fictional, exists only in the minds. Lawful is natural and immutable, is real. When I give my labor, I shall give it free of charge to create things for my neighbors. That's what we can say down the road. And when I need something, and everyone else has done the same thing, given their labor for free, then everything that is available and stored in the storehouses today, such as grocery stores, computer stores, and car stores, etc., belongs to us all, and when I need one of those items, I simply go pick it up. It goes without saying that there is going to have to be a transitional period in order to get to that point. In the meantime, if the government continues to maintain the system of commerce or economy, complete with the process of buying and selling, then it, the government, must provide the money to be exchanged for what you and I take possession of. After all, they set this system up. Remember, in this legal system of commerce, you own nothing. The government, or Her Majesty Queen, or the Crown, owns it all. So are they not the one who bears the liability and must do the paying? Of course the answer is yes. This is the truth, and no one can argue with it, yet I know that many may want to. We are, after all, our own worst enemy, and our indoctrination has created that enemy. Once you come to an acceptance of all I have said, please go to our website, humanrightsdefenders.ca, where you will find a template for a letter to send to the men and women acting in 5 different capacities within government, and send it out immediately, and get everyone else that you know to read the letter and do the same, if they're willing. When the government receives thousands, and I hope it's tens of thousands of these letters, and the authors, you, know who you are, then this crap will come to an immediate end, and if it doesn't, we go to court. The law that binds them is on our side, if you will. It exists, it's for real, and they have broken the law. On our website, you will also find a script and verification for baptism, which I feel is necessary in the grand scheme of things, but whether you feel the same is up to you. Please visit servantking.info and watch the videos on this topic for yourself. You will also find a handbook for jurors on our website, which contains instructions on establishing our own common law juries, where finally you and I will have some means of obtaining justice. The common law is of the people. Therefore, it's only people who can establish common law courts, common law juries, and all that goes with it. This handbook will help you understand that. Once you have accepted that you are a slave, and you do not have to endure that condition, ask yourself this question: what have I done to remove the shackles of bondage that bind me and my posterity? You now have a choice of acting or doing nothing. What is your choice? The truth is, the solution to all of our problems is this simple. Say no. But you got to do it formally, and that's what the letter is for. That's it, folks. Please help this video go viral. You will be, in my opinion, helping yourself and your family by doing so.